Alright, so we're going to go and do some PvE with Kiato so I can show you guys how this man is working. So of course we're going to do a boss fight right now, and obviously with him being an attacker and a character that works off from buffs, I've also provided him with some buff support in the sense of having Gorsh and Sally. So it's kind of expected when running Kiato. If you have characters that can provide him with buffs, it helps out with him actually activating his passive to then lead into getting his idle debut, and that way you get your 50% increase on damage. So we're going to slowly just build this man up, and as you guys can see, as the buffs are going along, we've already got 3. I just need 2 more. If I activate Gorsh's second skill, I have idle debut. There you go. And by the way, once you get idle debut, which I already have right here, you can continuously keep stacking up his exciting dance. So even though I've got 30% and 30% on endurance and blocking, I can get additional from his original passive. So right, we're going to try this out. I don't typically run this team first time round, but for the sake of the video, we're here and we're going to try it out. So let's see if we can... Okay, we've got the speed down, perfect. So if I want to, I could technically go for the ultimate right now, but I'm not going to. We're going to go use the second skill. We're going to keep the passive going. Our damage is high up there, of course. We're going to get the crit damage boost, because again, keep in mind, with Kiato, since he's got that guaranteed crit, we can consistently build that up. Obviously with his talent tree, I've got the 10% crit damage and 10% increased damage on bosses, and obviously having Lotus around does help us out, because of course he does give us that concentrated debuff, but we already got it guaranteed. So this right now should hit pretty hard. Hopefully a million. 800k, you can build it up to a million, of course, quite easily as time goes on, so it's not the end of the world. But like I said, he's pretty much just that NUKER. PvP, I mean, again, I'll go on PvP with him. I'll take the risk, why not? But he's just not going to be used there, to be honest. But in a PvE format for bosses, he is pretty good to have, of course, especially in this scenario. So this is kind of like a perfect scenario for him, because where, you know, you've got a boss fight where, I mean, if you've got 2 blue attackers in the case of Julius and Kiato, then that's kind of perfect, and you'll be able to hit those higher numbers to secure yourself a good spot within the ratings, of course, since that's how this game mode kind of works. So in this scenario, it's kind of perfect on why actually having Kiato is actually not that bad of an idea. But is it really that necessary? I mean, well, to be honest, the rewards from this boss isn't exactly anything too crazy to go for. And plus, I think my Kiato is 3 dupes in, so I'm not going to max him out. I mean, if I do, then it will be just casually happening, but no reason to go all the way to invest into this man, of course. But yeah, boss fights, I mean, he's going to be picture perfect, can't really deny that, so we're just going to keep him going. But like, as long as the consistency of the buffs are there, his passives are just going to keep on popping, and the consistency of just having the idle debut will forever be there. Alright, that's pretty much the premise on how you want to do Kiato. I will say Kiato on his own, just kind of rocking and rolling. Yes, it's not nothing too crazy, I'll say that much. Right, so we'll just do a regular hit right there. Got stunned, but by doing that, of course, we do get that 15% increase of damage, which is nice. Hopefully we don't die here. Obviously, because he's an attacker, I've built him up more on the offensive side of things rather than the defense, so we are in trouble. We are in a huge amount of trouble. Well, my 2 boys are sleeping, so that's always good news. Obviously, just keep boosting him up. I mean, right there, did I really need to? I don't think so. Let's do this. Only Sally's gonna get that. Can I slow you down? Can Kiato come in, please? Maybe? Yeah, he does. Perfect. Cool. Come on, let's get that 1 million. God damn it, 800K. So the one thing to take note of is that obviously when it comes to using Kiato, of course, when it comes to his kit, he works off from buffs. Now, unfortunately, his kit is in the department of where the buffs at. The buffs come from his allies. He doesn't actually provide his own buffs outside if you have his Grey Maw to when if you dispel DOTs, the damage over times, of course, then that'll then correlate into him getting buffs, of course. But that's furthermore into his kit, and it does require more. Just him on his own, bare bone, he needs support. He needs people with him. So obviously, in the case of this scenario, you know, I can now just support him up with Charmy. So right there, Charmy has now the minute he gets his buffs, the minute anyone provides him that buff, he can start working off from that. So he initially can't start things off himself. That's the bad thing, right? He's a character that requires build up, and without his Grey Maw, as well as without taking DOT damage, because he needs to actually have the DOT damage applied to him, he's just pretty much sitting there with the bare minimum, and that's unfortunately not good enough for what we know of. So I mean, if I want to ult here to kind of keep it going, but that's something that I don't want to do because, of course, with the first skill, I do get that, as long as I have a buff, of course, I do get that 15% increase of damage. So we can continue it going, I assume. I don't know if this will actually allow me. No, this doesn't actually continue on. That's fine. But yeah, that's the situation that Kiato is in right now. Like, he's a good nuker if you've got the characters to support him, and if you keep on getting that second kill, the second skill in a consistent manner, then that will help him out with him being able to buff himself up. Does it stick over or does it go away? No, it resets. Ew. Okay, so yeah, in situations like this is bad. So this is why I and many others say for bosses, he's beautiful. In situations like this, the fact that he hard resets, it's not good, because at this point, yeah, I mean, he does hit like a wet wipe when he's not built up. So it's a character that does require that build up, and once that build up is even applied, the numbers are beautiful. But you know, there's stages to this character. There's stages. And plus, when you look at his kit with the way it's working, with the fact that it requires buffs, if you've got no buffs going on, then he's just going to be, he's just going to be performing so badly. So right there, as you guys can see, I've got no buffs, and Kiato is basically right now just dead weight for my team. I mean, the damage, he's doing some damage, so I'll give him that. But to be realistic, if we're because of course the comparison will be made between him and Julius, right? There's just way too much more value to be given from having Julius with, if we're looking at both characters without any type of build up, right? Julius is just going to be providing that a little bit more. So right, we've got that one buff, so now we've got two. So it's a very slow build up, as you guys can see, when there's no one around, or even when you've got like a bare minimum type of character that's supporting him. You guys are seeing how very slow it is. So this is like your typical blue meta team that I'm running right now, right? And you guys are seeing how not great Kiato is actually performing. So now the ball's rolling. Now we're getting somewhere. Let's get the first. Okay, that was a crit. Disgustingly bad. And then it just resets. So in situations like this, it's horrible. This is not the character that you want to be running. So again, by putting him in a boss situation with like the bare minimum. Well, I'll say bare minimum. This time around, we've got Finral. So Finral is going to be like my only booster. Everyone else is pretty much going to be debuffing the enemy. So like again, this is, by the way, this is like one of the best optimal teams if anyone is wondering when it comes to fighting against a boss like this. If you do have Kiato, so just an FYI. But yeah, in a situation like this is more than enough. So as long as you've got that one buffer, that's all he needs. Let me just clarify. As long as he has that one buffer, he is a-okay. He's absolutely fine. You can actually get a good usage out of him. But he does require a buddy system. Okay, this should be the one. I think we've got enough buffs to actually get that melee. So let's just kind of get this going. There we go. We managed to get it. So yeah. So right now, obviously, just getting all the buffs, all the debuffs going along, and it just kind of worked out picture perfect. So yeah, Kano will be a nice little character. You got Radis, Barrier right there, which is nice. Gorsh, Sally, they're going to be a typical play. Mimosa, on the second skill, she does provide some defense buff. William will be a nice little touch. How can I forget about this man? William will be actually a really nice touch. That's not a bad combination to have, because you got the counter attack, you got the fortify, you got the speed up, you got the attack up. William is just the picture perfect character for Julius or Kiato when it comes to blue mono, or just the support in general. So yeah, he'll be viable. Charming, yeah, no, not really. But yeah, you guys get the idea on yeah, how Kiato is going to be working. But as I've said and as I've shown, he is a character that does require that support play. His kit alone, unfortunately, is not going to be able to hold up with just getting those buffs. He needs help. But yeah, unfortunately, in the situation that we're in right now, Julius is just a much more optimal character in an all-round type of basis, whereas Kiato, his specific role is just for bosses. That's it. So hence why, you know, if you've got Julius, you really don't need Kiato. That's kind of the situation we're all in right now. Hence why people are starting to say that the release of Kiato was kind of horrible. The fact that they released Julius early, because it now screws him over. Because if Kiato came out first, I think people would have dived on in. I feel like people are still going to dive on in, because he does have nuking numbers. And hey, at the end of the day, who doesn't want two blue nuking characters, right? It's not that bad of an idea. He's a good character. As long as you are providing him with the support and whatnot, he'll achieve those great deal of numbers. So If you do want to summon for him, I don't blame you. I am a fan of Kiato, even though Julius is here. I'm still a big fan of this character. I still enjoy using him, nuking with him and whatnot. Still a solid character in that department. It's just right now with Global, he's not that type. Well, it's not a character that you need now. Now the fact that everyone has Julius, right? It's a character that you'll get along the way as you're summoning for something else.